Hello everyone, this is my informative speech. With my audience here, I have my grandfather Luis, I have my aunt Lorena, and I have my sister Gianni. My informative speech is on Pearl Harbor. One of the largest attacks made the US enter one of the ever largest wars. The tragic events yesterday on December 7th, 1941, a day that will live in infamy. The US was suddenly and deliberately attacked by the naval and air forces of Japan, was what President Roosevelt stated the day after the attacks. This would ultimately change the history of the world and of the US. The reason to listen is this is one of the largest attacks that ever took on US soil. My credibility is history is something that I am very interested in. I enjoy learning and reading about it, watching movies and TV shows. I have done history research before on Pearl Harbor, and Pearl Harbor is also one of my favorite movies. Just some of my main points is the background of Pearl Harbor, the events after Pearl Harbor, and the movie made for Pearl Harbor. So first is why and what led to the attacks on Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was home to the Pacific Fleet. It held over 100 naval ships at the time of the attack. It was the closest America has, American soil, to the Pacific, and Pearl Harbor allowed for easy refueling of military ships. So what caused Pearl Harbor? Pearl Harbor, at the time, the world was at war. In Europe was Italy and Germany, and then in Asia was Japan. Another thing that led to the attacks was President Roosevelt at that time moved the Pacific Fleet to Pearl Harbor to show its power, and the tension between the United States and Japan rose to great heights that we've never seen before. The casualties and attack. The attack occurred on December 7th, 1941. 2,403 U.S. personnel were killed, including 68 civilians. 19 naval ships were destroyed, and 300 planes were also destroyed. Japan attacked, thinking that it would stop us from intervening in the Pacific. Now that I've explained the events leading to the attack, I will explain the important events that transpired after. So first of all, the attacks would unite many Americans. The day after, President Roosevelt gave a speech that would bring all Americans together, and is to this day considered one of the greatest speeches ever given. The Americans at that time found the attack to be a stab in the back and to be very cowardly. And at that time, America was also an isolated country, meaning we did not take part in any wars or any conflicts, nor did we take part in any political events that happened at that time. The world's biggest powers also, after Pearl Harbor, declared war on each other. First, that began on December 7th, 1941. Japan declared war on the United States. The day after, December 8th, the United States would declare war on Japan, thanks to the speech given by President Roosevelt. And December 11th, 1941, Italy and Germany would also declare war on the United States, leading the United States to declare war on Italy and Germany. How World War II impacted the United States. So first of all, the United States was a leading producer in ammunition, weapons, ships, and vehicles. At that time, the United States was also exiting the Great Depression. So with many men and women now enlisting for the armed forces, this caused anyone that was left behind to find work, and that greatly helped the economy. And it also showed the passion that the United States had, in defending its country. So next is the movie Pearl Harbor. As I explained before, this is one of my personal favorite movies. how it depicts the events that transpired during Pearl Harbor. The movie was directed by Michael Bay and produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. It had stars like Ben Affleck, Cuba Gooding Jr., Kate Beckinsale, and Josh Hartnett, with Alec Baldwin as well. It was released on May 25th, 2001, and had a budget of around $140 million. It brought revenue of around $448 million. Most of it was filmed in Hawaii using historic ships that were no longer in service. And today, memorials are also set up in Hawaii. Many can visit to see the events that transpired and the ships that were lost at that time. The movie was also nominated for Best Visual Effects, Sound, and also won Best Sound Effects. So now that I have spoken a bit of the events and the movie of Pearl Harbor, I want to go over the main points. How Pearl Harbor is so important to U.S. history and world history, how it changed America, what events transpired after, and how great of a movie it is a must-watch. In conclusion, one of the greatest attacks in U.S. history led to us joining one of the greatest wars ever seen, and one of the largest ever seen as well. It is something that should never be forgotten, as well as the people that were lost on that day. Thank you.